Turffontein Racecourse, Johannesburg. Hosted by Phumalela, the field band tradition comes to town. As the Kroonstad National Defence Force Band opens proceedings, 9 finalists prepare in turn to take to the field for the Premier Division of the 10th Annual Field Band National Championships.
A field band is what the Americans would call a marching band. They're essentially brass bands, and we buy the instruments from the United States, and all of the brass instruments are on one key of G. Now that means that you can teach kids who can't read a note of music. Within about 3 months, we can teach a band to play the national anthem, for example.
In 1996, philanthropist brothers Ronnie and Bertie Lubner established the Field Band Foundation with a grant of 6 million rand. Their vision: to uplift disadvantaged young people from communities across South Africa. A decade later, and the field band movement is made up of 35 bands actively involving some 4,000 young members. On this, the 10th anniversary of the Field Band Championships, Ronnie and Bertie Lubner's vision has touched the lives of some 10,000 underprivileged young people across South Africa.
Most people would think this is all to do with music. Yes, music is important, but it's really about creating lifetime opportunities for young people. So the discipline of music, of performance, it teaches punctuality, respect for your colleagues. It teaches young people to have a degree of self-esteem. And we found the 10 or so thousand people that have been through our hands over the last 10 years, a very high percentage of those young people who come from really disadvantaged backgrounds find their way into leadership positions. We have 35 bands around the country, and we're in all the provinces except for the Free State at this time, but we're working hard to start up a structure in the Free State. We've got about 4,000 kids who are actively participating at the moment, and interestingly, they come from largely disadvantaged families. And we've done some social research, and we find that probably about 70% of our youngsters come from families that are either single families, have HIV and AIDS deaths, or are unemployed. So they really do struggle, and yet week after week they turn up for their practices with clean uniforms, clean nails, clean hair, and with a positive attitude.
Over the past 10 years, financial support for the Field Band Foundation has grown considerably. Across the country, communities have reacted with enthusiasm to the prospect of forming a band.
Mostly we recruit by sending a band marching through the township, and it's like the Pied Piper, and no time at all there's a group of youngsters following, and generally we'll have about 1,000 who will sign up. And then, of course, you get some natural attrition, and they'll drop out over a couple of months. And normally a region or a band region will stabilise around about 300 to 400 kids, of which about 200 can play in the band, and the others are all trying hard to get into the band. We try and start youngsters technically at 13, but more often than not, the 6 and the 8-year-olds arrive and they want to be part of the band, and so we'll find a little slot for them. And at the upper end, for our national competition, we limit it to 22.
The field band movement in South Africa has turned heads internationally. Special guests at this year's championships are the Troja Wind Band from Tromsø in Norway.
We have an extraordinary relationship with the equivalent organisation in Norway, which is an extraordinary country in that there are 60,000 band members in Norway out of a population of 4.5 million. So everybody in Norway is involved in the band movement in some way or another. And when we started our project, they heard about it and came across and asked how they could help. And what we agreed was an exchange program. Every year they send 10 young Norwegians across, and they generally are highly skilled musicians. And these youngsters, almost like the Peace Corps, will move into a township. They'll work with our bands for 10 months, completely funded by the Norwegian Band Federation, which in turn is funded by the Norwegian government. And in exchange, we will send each year at least 2 of our young people to college in Norway, which is again fully funded, where they will acquire a music diploma and learn a little bit of Norwegian.
Back on the field, competition is intense. Under the critical eye of 12 local and international judges, the field bands perform their individual routines.
The judging is, of course, very, very strict. This year we had 52 international guests come from all over the world to attend the championships, and that included 9 international judges, particularly from the United States, from Norway, from Holland, Belgium, where they have a very strong marching band tradition. So the judges come along and they score based on the quality of the brass, the quality of the percussion, the movement, because we have what in America would be called a color guard, but in South Africa we call it the dancers. But they score independently, and then that's all put into a computer program so that there's absolutely no undue influence, and you get a winner. And this year the winning band won by precisely 1 point, so it was very, very close.
This year's overall winner, the PG Bison Buccaneers from KwaZulu-Natal.
They started 10 years ago as a deliberate principle with the little ones. Many of the other bands imported experienced musicians from church bands and so on, and they made a start with some skill. But Brian Clark, the regional director in KwaZulu-Natal, wanted to start with complete rookies, and so it's taken him a long time, but he's been really well rewarded now because they won the music awards, they won the dance awards, they won just about everything.
Those 2 PG Bison.
Congratulations to the winners. Happy 10th anniversary to the Field Band Foundation. And looking to the future, who knows, maybe next year, a field band representing the community of Turffontein.
If you look at the whole area of Turffontein, the mixed demographics of Turffontein, that would be what we are aspiring to, because we've got one lonely white kid in the field band movement at this time, and that's not appropriate. So we want to now get a more appropriate demographic profile. And Turffontein, well, if we could get all the kids of Turffontein to be hosted by Phumalela at the racecourse, I can think of nothing better.